At 3:20 in the morning, three strangers sat in the same hospital waiting room. 5 years later, one would be happily married, financially secure, and helping save lives every day. Another would spend years wondering how everything slipped away. And the difference between them started with 6 colorful pills rolling across a hospital floor. The strange part? Nobody noticed the moment it happened. The waiting room at St. Mary's Hospital looked exactly like every hospital waiting room on Earth. Flickering fluorescent lights, bad coffee, uncomfortable chairs, and people trying not to think about worst-case scenarios. Ben sat near the vending machines, nervously twisting the cap of a medication bottle while waiting for news about his wife. Across the room, Elena stared at her phone, the day after she had the biggest presentation of her career. Her father's surgery was supposed to be a routine. She'd planned to visit him, get good news, and head straight to work. Simple. At least, that's what she thought. Near the entrance sat Edward, recently divorced, recently unemployed, recently wondering if life had quietly fallen apart while he wasn't paying attention. Then it happened. Ben's medication bottle slipped from his hands. Pop. The cap flew off. 6 colorful pills bounced across the floor like tiny runaway marbles. Nobody moved for a second. Then Edward stood up. He crouched down and started collecting them. "Looks like they're making a break for it," he joked. Ben laughed despite himself. Together they gathered the pills. Nothing heroic. Just 30 seconds of basic human kindness. Or so it seemed. A nurse named Linda noticed the scene while walking past. "You gentlemen okay over here?" Ben explained. Edward handed over the last pill. Linda smiled. "Good catch. Those things disappear faster than hospital socks." The three chatted for less than a minute. Then Linda got called away. Conversation over. Moment forgotten. Or so everyone thought. 20 minutes later, Linda passed through the waiting room again. This time she saw Edward helping an elderly woman figure out which elevator reached the cardiac unit. 10 minutes after that, he helped another family find the pediatric wing. Nobody asked him to. He just did. Linda noticed. Most people in waiting rooms disappear into their phones. Edward kept noticing people. An hour later, she stopped beside his chair. "Can I ask you something?" Edward shrugged. "Sure." "Have you ever worked in healthcare?" He laughed. "Not even close." Linda nodded. "Funny, you act like someone who has." Before leaving, she handed him a small card. "If you're ever looking for work, call that number." Edward looked down. Human Resources, St. Mary's Hospital. He tucked the card into his pocket. Meanwhile, Elena never looked up. Not because she was selfish, because she was busy. Her world existed inside a 6-inch screen, and while she scrolled, conversations happened around her. At sunrise, both Edward and Elena left the hospital. Neither had any idea their lives had just shifted direction. 5 years passed. After that day, Marcus called the number. He got an interview, then a temporary position, and then a permanent one. Turns out Linda had been right. He was good with people. Very good. Patients remembered him. Co-workers requested him. 1 year later, he became lead transporter. 3 years later, supervisor. Along the way, something else happened. A nurse named Rebecca kept requesting Edward whenever difficult patients needed transport. She said he had a way of calming people down. Edward claimed he just talked too much. She claimed that was exactly the point. 2 years later, they got married. By year 5, Edward had a stable career, health insurance, a home, and a life that looked nothing like the one he'd feared losing after his divorce. All because he bent down to pick up 6 pills. Or so it appeared. But the story gets stranger. Remember Ben? The elderly man with the medication bottle? His wife survived, recovered. Their family never forgot the kindness shown to them that night, especially their granddaughter, Emily. She'd been considering nursing school at the time. Watching the hospital staff care for her grandmother changed her mind. She enrolled 6 months later, graduated and got hired. And 5 years after the pills scattered across the floor. Emily's first supervisor at St. Mary's Hospital was Edward. Neither realized they had met before. Not until Ben visited one afternoon and recognized him instantly. The room fell silent. 3 generations, connected by 6 pills, a dropped bottle, and a stranger who chose to help. Then there was Elena. Life wasn't cruel to her. It was quieter than that. Her father's surgery became more complicated than expected. Recovery took months. She left her marketing job to help care for him. When she eventually tried returning, the industry had changed. The opportunities became harder to find. The years moved quickly. One afternoon, she attended a hospital fundraiser. While speaking with guests, she met a woman named Linda. The same nurse. The same waiting room. As they talked, Linda suddenly paused. Wait. Were you sitting across from Edward 5 years ago? Elena laughed. I think so. Linda smiled. You know what's funny? What? I almost talked to you that night. Elena frowned. Linda continued. My sister ran a healthcare marketing company. She was looking for someone exactly with your background. We talked about it in the waiting room. Elena stared. What happened? Linda shrugged. You looked busy. Just a conversation that never happened. A door that never opened. A possibility that disappeared before either person noticed it existed. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. People think life changes because of huge decisions. The promotion, the marriage, the move across the country. But often the biggest changes begin with moments so small they seem meaningless. A dropped bottle, a simple question, a conversation with a stranger, a decision to look up instead of looking down. 5 years later, Edward wasn't successful because he picked up 6 pills. He was successful because that tiny choice revealed who he was. And that led people to trust him, to notice him, to remember him. Because every stranger you meet is carrying a future you can't see. The next opportunity, the next friendship, the next career, the next chapter of your life might be sitting 3 feet away right now. And all it takes to miss it is looking the other direction. If 6 pills rolled across the floor in front of you, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment and subscribe for more life-changing stories that change the way you see the world.